Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dan Subanan. I am here alongside Nivex, and welcome to the final game that means something for the playoffs here for the MCC. Nivex, how you doing? Last meaningful game of Week 10.
The last game of week 10. It's crazy to think that we've gotten here already. It's crazy to think that we are here and we got a beautiful match that, hey, this is a winner takes all, essentially. You win this game, that's your ticket into the playoffs. So, hey, great way for the last stream for conference play. I couldn't think of a better way to end it.
Yeah, 100%. These two heavyweight teams, I would say. Michigan, a team that's kind of gone underneath the radar. Versus Washington State, a team that I think we've hyped up, and they've had a weak ending, but obviously they're here for revenge. But obviously, I think we both have our own opinions on which team's going to win this. So, who do you think's going to win this, Nivex? As we start talking about these teams.
Yeah, listen, I've throughout the entire season, I've said that I've been voting for Washington. I feel like they still got it. You know, I started to lose faith in them, but you know there have been certain things that have shown up that have started making things show up a little bit better. So I'm gonna have to take Washington here.
Yeah, and I also will be taking Washington here. Koro, he's angry, you know? He wants to win this. Nienta's amazing too. I have full faith in them. And then on the other side of the desk, we have Parf with a Washington State pick. The coin has a Washington State pick. And Fast has gone for Michigan. He has lost the faith in the Washington State team. So it will not be a curse here, but as we have gone underneath a full minute almost, we've been seeing Washington State. They've had some stuff, but they're also playing defense. This play almost gets a shot through.
Yeah, well, and they're gonna have to try and start generating some stuff. It's been very much so back and forth so far, at least. And for a match this important, you've got to start off by making the right kind of statement, as it looks like we're gonna be rushing back to this Washington State side.
Yeah, but Koro's going to pick up this ball well. Plague, he has no boost, can't do much. In fact, the boost totals are kind of low for this Michigan side. Only Coolest Sun actually has boost here, as he gets a past one. Strider, though, will recollect. And Strider, I think, is going to be an interesting player to watch for the Washington State team, right? Obviously, when you're talking about this Washington State team, you're thinking of the Koro. You're thinking of Nienta, who's been doing great in these last few weeks, even though he's not exactly been, in the end, winning with this team. But Strider, I think he's the interesting piece that you don't think about when you're talking about Washington. But he is, I think, very essential because in the end, he is making these touches like that one where if he doesn't do it correctly, stuff will go wrong. Like Plague there, pretty much getting the pass from him.
Yeah, probably don't want to send that ball straight into the ceiling there. Likely not what he was going for, but I 100% agree in the sense that he's going to be the guy that will have to show up in order to make this Washington State team complete. I know earlier on this season when they were going on a little bit of a tear, especially through non-conference, everyone sort of had their role. Everyone sort of had and knew what they were doing. But as the season has gone on, I feel like some things have sort of not fallen apart, but gone a little awry. So is this the Washington that is going to be able to do something about it? Is this going to be the Washington that we saw earlier in the season? We'll have to see, as this will be shot on net. But Strider, the guy we were just talking about, able to get the clear for now.
Yeah, that's a huge one. They won't want to go 2 goals down, but I say that, it doesn't matter because B for Beck will just put pure power on that ball, and Koro cannot stop it in time. Half the game has gone by in Michigan, starting how they want to.
Yeah,
and honestly, it's feeling, yeah.
Yeah, before Beck's there, just throwing a lot of power on net. In that case, you have a defender who's a little loose, a little unsure about what kind of approach they need to take. And it looks like right now Washington might be doing something of their own, as Coolest able to get the save there, and Strider's going to have to try and get some 50s in order to at least keep this offensive pressure, as Washington now trying to look for their own goal.
Yeah, there's still very much a chance here for the Washington State team. 2 minutes is completely fine when it comes to time. There's going to be a 50 here from Nienta. Not quite what he wants, but no boost, it feels like, for most of this Michigan team, as Plague actually just uses pretty much the last of it. This boost total, that's going to stay in the back. That top left boost is going to stay, and I think that's going to be a pickup from Coolest Stun. There was a solid few seconds where that boost for Michigan was just there in the picking for Washington State to take, and to make this so much longer, but Cool Stun was able to pick it up. He's able to get clear. But it doesn't really matter right now as Strider tries to put a shot on, but again, Sun, he's been great right now in this game, making sure things don't go astray.
Yeah, well, and we haven't seen too much, at least stream-wise, of Michigan. At least none
No,
that
definitely
I
not.
have been a part of. So this is a chance for them to really make their presence known, especially if they get this win and make it into playoffs. This might be one of the first opportunities that teams can look at this team and start saying, okay, this is who we're going to be facing. What do we need to do against them and all that? And right now it seems like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, and obviously teams can figure out more about each other. Some of these teams scrim against each other. We've heard that from others. And obviously the replays that we use for all the reporting and whatnot are accessible to teams. So if they wanted to figure out more, they could. But I think streams, when people are tuning in, is definitely the best way, as you've said, that people figure out stuff. But right now, you gotta figure out which team is the one you actually gotta worry about coming into the playoffs, as the team who wins this will be facing off against Nebraska, I believe. I don't want to say that with full confidence, but I will be double checking that. And yes, the winner of this will be playing Nebraska, who is a very dangerous team. That's a team that has the potential just to win it all. I think we both agree with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have heard some of the Nebraska players talking amidst just hanging out in the server, and they are confident. They know that they can do it. So no matter who comes out of this game, or this series, I should say, as Michigan does close out this game 1, it seems like they're going to have a tough task ahead once playoffs start.
Yeah, I mean, a game 1 to forget. I was going to say, right before that goal happened, that it felt very much like Washington State, after that first half, they've kind of tuned it back in. They were making Michigan not do much. And then in the end, I think they saw the time. They saw they had less than 30 seconds. They need to go all in, and then obviously got scored on. I think the final 30 seconds there is a bit of a wash for, how can you, talk about the Washington State team? Because in the end, they got to go way more aggro anyways to try to get a goal to make them have a chance. But, that 2 minutes after the first 2 goals were scored from Michigan was a much better Washington State team. I think we can both agree. They had a good presence on the offense, even if they didn't score. There's something they can hold on to there. So, but they just got to finish off the shots, I feel like, because there were some shots, there were some moments that I feel like if they just put their foot maybe slightly differently, they would have got that goal, and this would be a different game.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, looking at the shots totals for this game, Washington had way more shots than Michigan. They had a total of 9, I think, and Michigan only had 5. But again, in this case, Michigan was the one that came out on top by 3. So obviously they're getting offensive pressure, but some of these shots aren't quite hitting the mark, at least just yet. Maybe this is a matter of, hey, first game, we're still trying to get into our groove. You pointed out halfway through that match, they sort of started finding their footing. They've just got to, try and find it sooner.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the big things is across the entire season, Michigan, they've been shooting 6.6 shots per game. The average in the league is 7.6, so they are well below the average. Washington State is above the average at 8.8 pretty much. So that's something we should be expecting. But obviously now, with Michigan, this is kind of in their comfort zone. But Washington State, we'll see the response here in game 2.
Yeah, well, and we might see one pretty quickly. Niantic going for the double coral, not quite able to make it, and it seems like Strider will do the same thing. This Michigan defense is awkward, though. Blake, he's going to have to put it off the backboard, and a save coming in from Coolest will only delay the inevitable after an onslaught. Washington is able to find the back of the net.
Well, congrats, Washington State. You nearly had the same amount of shots as Michigan did the entirety of game 1 in 20 seconds. I don't think that's sustainable, but, prove me wrong. But right now, Nianto's going to be collecting this ball. Puts actually to the left. It's going to be now play. He's going to try to take a shot, but will be wide. Strider gets a touch. First one to it, it's going to be Coro, but gets heavily dunked. And Strider's good touch from him. He's going to let Coro do a redirect. But the physicality there, I think, is that the first demo of the game, I want to say. It's definitely one of the few, as that physicality might be a huge play for Washington State as we go further on. As Coro scores another goal. The power, the placement, nothing that can be done by Michigan.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, those bounce shots, bounce passes, those can be something to throw off the defense at times when they're just expecting a direct shot or maybe something soft to go center. And in that case, it was well timed and well worth its purpose, but then you have a kickoff goal that goes against you.
Yeah, Nienta, he cheated. He leaned to the right. I've done that before, assuming that that ball's going to go that way, and it just doesn't. It goes the opposite, and you've been hard punished. Well, thankfully they had that insurance goal, but obviously you didn't want to burn it up in less than a minute in the game. But right now, Michigan will be playing an offense. Back pass there to Plague will get denied as Sun will stick around, but no boost, so he has to leave it for a teammate and Strider to have fun with. Cora now back corner. They've been playing here a couple times, and follow-up touch. We'll go with the Plague. There's a double commit, but don't want to risk that save going in, and suddenly the counterattack occurs here for Washington State.
The counterattack, and it's pretty strong, although Strider hits 0 boost. He's not able to catch up to that. And, you know, I was about to start doing my whole commentating thing, but, you know, they just scored.
Yeah, he flips, he lands, he's right there at the ball. He doesn't have enough time to actually get enough height to, like, kind of get neutral with it. So it just kind of goes over the top of his dumbness, kind of happened with the lower car, and suddenly, what was a great start for Washington State has become a completely neutral game. And right now, with how it's been going,
oh, wait.
We'll be favoring Michigan, but doesn't matter when Strider puts the infield and Koro can just absolutely shoot that on target, 134 kilometers, and what a play by Washington State when it matters most.
That's only that kind of power you can get with a Dominus hitbox, going straight center right in front of the net, too. Beautiful placement, and I mean, he's going to be going for another shot again, this time not as powerful, but still a threat, and, you know, Washington, they're getting their goals, but it doesn't seem like they're holding on to their lead, so we'll have to see if they try and make any changes to, you know, how they're aligning themselves on defense, how they're working on their rotations to try and hold on to a lead, because it's like every time they get one, they lose it, but maybe if they just stay on offense, they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's actually really weird right now what's happened to Washington State in this game already, because they are one of the lowest scored against teams. 1.6 shots, 1.6 goals against them per game, but that is 3 now for Michigan against them in this game, as there were 3 in the beginning. I don't know what's up, but this game is just... Washington State's defense is not what it normally is.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, because it's either, you know, the third man or the third man who's transitioning into second man at the moment that just does not seem too comfortable when they're possessing the ball, as a demo will come through that is going to hit off the backboard, and before Bex finds the bottom right corner.
Yeah, what was originally a 2-goal lead for Washington State early on in this game is now a trail, and it hasn't even been half the game. The vibes for this game is just a harmonic here for Washington State, but again, 2.5 minutes, kind of what happened in the last game where you were down 2. It's not impossible, but right now, Michigan they're back to being in like a chill spot, and honestly, you can score, but your defense needs significant changes, as there's another opportunity there playing off target, but Strider actually didn't have any boost, so that was on. I think that would have been another goal.
Yeah, well, and right now I feel like Michigan is kind of just waiting for Washington to make a mistake. I don't know if that, you know, sounds like something that's too much of a strategy, but hey, sometimes just being patient and waiting for your opponents to do something wrong, or I shouldn't really say that, because in this case, it looks like they're forcing their opponents to do something wrong.
Yeah, I love this from Plague. He sees the teammate has control, knows there's one back, just absolutely chases them, sends them high. Even if he doesn't get the bump there, if that person's so off target, it does not matter. And now, a 2-goal game for Michigan, and they have not been putting a foot wrong. They've been playing, like, honestly, great Rocket League here there. They know that their opponents are the ones who are making the mistakes more often than not, going a bit all in at times, and they can just punish that. And again, there was a punish there. The last one was back, had an awkward position, and a 2v1, and that's goable, but there's going to be a shot there for Beaverback to make it 3-goal lead. Can't quite, but Plague puts it center. Beaverback is just going to wait on the sidewall, but Strider will cut it off. Still time for Washington State, but again, they also had time last game, and they weren't quite able to do it. See if they repeat history.
They repeat history. It feels like, history's kind of being written by the winners in this case, because that is Michigan right now. They're the ones who seem to be in control of the game, even though it looks like Washington is the one with, a decent amount of pressure, as Nienta will just sit behind the ball there. Strider going to try and put it center, but a massive pinch is just going to go straight into the Washington net.
Son, I can't help but funny. That might be my favorite goal I've seen all tournament long. I can't even lie. Oh, what a shot. And with that, yeah, I think Michigan, I feel that's game wraps already. I know there's a minute left, but that's an absolute mood killer.
That is absolutely a mood killer there. I mean, in that case, if you're Washington, you kind of just have to sit there and say, okay, game, I guess this is how it's going to work.
No.
I don't know how long you can keep saying that, but you might just have to say it for this entire game.
I mean, dude, this is a team that had one of the lowest shooting shots in the entire league, and they have 10 shots against you, and they have 7 goals. Hell, I mean, their lowest points player has a hat trick. Like, I mean, I don't know, Washington State, you're gonna go down 2-0. Like, for a team that was so hyped at the beginning, a team that fought tooth and nail against Kansas State, a team that's in the playoffs and beat Iowa State and whatnot, was close against Nebraska. This is how you're going now?
I mean, you can sit there and say, oh yeah, they will still have some more fight in them, but the scoreboard is saying 7-3 with 8 seconds left. As Strider's going to have to dive for another shot as more are being piled on. No. Never mind, make it 8. This is I don't know if I should say unfortunate. I don't know if I should say there's a little bit of breaking down happening. It's a disaster for Washington right now.
Yeah, I mean, this game was chalked at the pinch. We knew that, but it hurts every time another goal scored, because it just makes you sit there longer and longer. You have to look at the top of the scoreboard. And every waking second you're looking at the top and you see that you're getting absolutely beat down, it just feels worse and worse. But as we're showing the bracket here, I think, well, again, let's reiterate what this game means and what this match point means for both of these teams. Washington, Michigan. It's a simple scenario here. It's not as complex as it was earlier in this week. Simply, whoever wins this series, they're into the playoff. The other one, you stay home. So, it's as do or die as it gets. It's as dire of a situation as it could possibly be for Washington State. I mean, this quite possibly might be the worst circumstance you could have. You weren't really competitive in game 1, and you were somehow less competitive in game 2. And now you got to come to a game 3 where if you lose, you're gone. And I mean, I don't think it gets any worse than that.
I could not agree more. You gotta reverse sweep to keep your hopes of continuing the season alive. That is a task to reverse sweep in and of itself, but also with the pressure of, we gotta win this game to make it into playoffs. That is something where Washington right now, I don't feel like they've felt too confident, especially their third man, their second man, or however you want to point it out on their defense. But they've got to find something. They've got to find some kind of momentum, as Nienta will try and get that started.
Yeah, I mean, early goal, that's exactly what you need your team. Just beats out 2, just gets the touch there, and it's on target, and no worries whatsoever. 5 seconds in, Washington State, it's another lead. We saw this in game 2. They were up 2 goals there. Surely they don't lose this one again, right?
Yeah, hopefully not. We love a good possible caster curse coming in here. It is our jobs to do that. So hopefully it's not going to come through this time, but in this case, the ball is quite literally in Washington's court, or field in this case. They've got a 1-goal lead, and they've got to hold on something that they just need to stick their claim in, as That was two open net opportunities that just go by, and this game stays a one-score deficit.
Yeah, and the thing is, now they're suddenly on defense, and they got to worry about this. Thankfully, Nienta's able to close it out. This guy he's what the situation's like, and he's making sure it cannot go wrong. But right now, Sun, he'll be the next one up, but Strider beats him. There's a Rule 1 actually in the corner. Both teams are going to respect it. Koro knows the player gun, and there's a demo there now in the back half. It's going to be Strider. He needs to get back. Pinch attempt from Plague. Won't quite do it, but gets the 50. And suddenly, it's a 2v2. The game is just suddenly changed drastically. People can be more mechy and whatnot. We'll see what comes out of this.
Yeah, I believe this is the first Rule 1 ever seen on stream. I don't know if I can speak to any other games that might have happened off stream, but we're getting the first 2v2 in MCC for a playoff spot. So we'll have to see how good these duos are, as it seems like this is going to be quite the match, as both of these teams are going back and forth.
Yeah, right now, though, Plague's going to get the ball. Strider will get the huge 50, but again, it's a 2v2. Right now, right, you just have a deeper person back in Plague. Is just going to flat out beat both. It's a 1-all, and I mean, I think both teams are just going to laugh at this one, I can't lie. I don't think there's much for it. It's a 2v2. You have the Rule 1 going on. Yeah, but Michigan in the end, all tied up. And right now, we're back to the 3v3. So, you know, back to having less time, less space, but B4X will just beat out in the end there. And Cool Sun can't shoot it on target, not even close. And this ball will actually go into the corner where Plague will meet. Can't get double. There will be Sun, I think, trying to go for a bump there, but that huge 50 is not going to be favorable. Koro absolutely stuffs him. And again, the 1-goal lead for Washington State.
It's almost as if that Rule 1 never happened, in a way. Things have balanced themselves out because both players respected the Rule 1. You know, Michigan got a goal off of it, and now Washington back up by 1. The balance has been restored or enacted, however it is to be said, but nonetheless, we are back to this 3v3 that Carl just rips an absolute beaut off of the sidewall.
Yeah, I mean, it's an essential one, right? You get a 2-goal lead now. It's halfway through the game. And now, it feels like a stronger lead, at least. But obviously, Michigan can do anything to tie this game back up, it feels like. They have been blessed on the offense in the last 2 games. So, more specifically that game, too. But right now, there's a demo on the back line. Nienta's actually just reversing his car. I'm not a fan of that decision. I think he won't be either, as he gets punished for it.
I mean, caught in an awkward spot and maybe a little bit of a sort of like blackout moment in, oh, what do I do? The ball is bouncing right towards me. I don't want to go for the 50. But it's those kinds of mistakes that Michigan has been capitalizing on. And it's been up to Washington on whether or not they can fix it. So we'll have to see if more of those are going to show up. If, you know, Michigan relies on those, if Michigan does something to try and cause them more often, as we've seen with a little bit of aggression from them. This is really Washington's game to lose, I think would be a great way to say it.
Yeah, 100%. But obviously, we were talking about it like in game 2 before everything spiraled out of control for Washington State. But Michigan was very much playing a game of, you make a mistake, we will capitalize on it. Obviously, last game they just at some point realized, oh, we're just so much better than you guys, and just took them to town. But now, 100 seconds left. Washington State has been making less mistakes. Or if they've been making a mistake, it's been a mistake made because they're playing a bit passive, which in the end, it gives up the ball, but doesn't give up a goal. So they'll rather take that, as Nienta does a silly little thing there, keeps the ball in the air, and Koro will actually recollect it. Now tries to take a shot in and out. It's going to be saved there by Sun! Suddenly, it's still a 1-goal game here, what should have been 2 for Washington State.
I feel like we've said that a lot throughout this game, this series, all of game 2, whatever you want to count it to be. But Washington, at least for now, is holding on to their 1-goal lead, and they're taking moments to try and extend it. But Michigan, they're holding strong, and a redirect from Nienta. And
Okay.
a crazy sequence of events to the point that I quite literally did not know how to commentate it. Just happened, and we remain at the same score at least.
Yeah, I think Nienta and Beeperbex kind of traded there. It looked like Beeperbex got a save after Nienta's perfect pass. But, 30 seconds left. A goal still, but right now Michigan, they are locking down this Washington State team. It's only Nienta that really has boost. So it's going to be an infield, but that's straight to Nienta. So stun was way too left. And now he has to take time here to figure out how to get this ball out. It gets a 50, but 15 seconds. We will be playing. Q shoots it high. Bex is up. He's going to meet Koro. There gets a 50 into the corner. Still not impossible, but that heavy touch, though, a bit further out. And Washington State, they will not get swept. And they get the first 3 games that they need.
Yeah, well, it's good that you got one game. It's good that you got one game, but all things considered, you have 2 more that you have to win. And yes, this scoreline is 2-4 in favor of Washington, but I feel like there were still some moments of concern on the Washington State side that, you won this game. That is good. That's exactly what you needed in order to, just stay alive in general. But there are still some things that need to be ironed out.
Yeah, I vaguely remember, I'm pretty sure it was this game, where they had a moment where they had an open net, and then they slammed the crossbar, and then they got saved again. Was it this game? I genuinely, they've all merged into one. They've had a couple of those now, which is not a good sign for Washington State. They've hit the crossbar a non-zero amount of times in crucial situations. If it was in this game, it didn't punish them. They won. Good job. But it definitely will punish you in the future games. I think Michigan, they'll probably be playing a bit more aggressive again and doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah. Well, and you still have 10 more minutes of gameplay to go. And if, in the prior games, this entire series, you sort of have those moments where things seem to be leaking through, some small mistakes that the other team has capitalized on and taken momentum and, run away with it in those first few games. Like, you've got to be concerned about that, but you also have to sit there and say, hey, we did what we needed to do, and we need to continue, because right now it is whether or not we make it into the playoffs, and we'll have to see what Neo Tokyo has for them.
Yeah, game 4 is underway. Michigan still on that blue to Washington State over on the orange, but this ball will be collected initially by Beeperbex, but gets heavily dunked by Strider. The boost total is low for him, and the boost total low here for Sun. He has to take a 50 with Koro, and Koro has been playing maybe not the most spectacular game in the world, but he's been getting, these 50s have been good. I don't think he's had really a horrible 50. But right now he's going to try to take a shot on a huge clear, but Plague's actually going to be there. Puts it to the left. Bex, no boost. We'll get that one on the corner, though, and that touch will just go flying out towards actually a Washington State defender player.
Yeah, well, and it looks like we might have some shooting opportunities here. Nienta is up! And a little bit of a backboard throw there from, I believe that was Strider, yeah. And, hey, starting off, again, just like last game, early with the scoring.
Yeah, Plague. Try to get the touch way further out. Options were either get a huge clear on that ball or put it over to the corner. Tries to go for the full clear and reduce everything for his team. Unfortunately, it wasn't the full power. Nienta gets a 50. Will go well. Strider shot, gets a reset, does not score it. Bex, he's been so low this entire game, it feels like constant for him. But Plague now, tries clear, heavy touch, won't be it, but will collect again as it gets hit into him. Strider, another 50. Right now, Washington State, the 50s have been well, but the moment I say that, Koro loses a bit of control, but Nienta is able to pick up the pieces, which, that was his entire thing in the early weeks, right? Koro, he picks up the pieces for this team and can pull something out when he needs to. And right now, I think he's slowly moving back into that role of, he'll pick up the pieces, he'll take a slow touch here, he'll make things awkward, he's in a 1-on-3 right now, flicks it past one, it's going to be too high though, and Michigan, they get away with it as they're low on boost.
They get away with it for now, but Washington has had some continued pressure as Koro going to throw it towards the backboard, and Strider immediately following up with a 50. We'll see if Nienta can chase this into the corner. He does, but Beeperbex, he's there and he's making sure this ball is getting pushed out, but as I say that, Strider getting a huge dunk to make sure this ball is staying on the blue side, but it doesn't look like they're holding on to it.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest stats already in this game, it's been 2 minutes of time. 85% of the ball time has been on this blue half. It has been barely anything from Michigan. And right now, in moments like that, that's adding percentage for Michigan, but that's a back pass that's causing that right now. But there's a double commit there. I don't exactly know why they even bothered double committing, but that giving Plague an opportunity. He gets the reset, gets a flip past one, but there's a triple commit from Washington State, but they will stop a goal from going in, but suddenly this play's going to be so much more awkward. Beaverbacks going to be a double commit to save it, but there's no boost on Plague in Washington State. They get away with it as Michigan. They try to recover.
We might see a little bit of a double off the sidewall here as both Nienta and Koro are up. Double commits coming through. One thing that I know I remember looking at relative to the stats on Washington is that they can sustain a decent amount of pressure. I know that they steal a decent amount of boost. They have shown throughout this game that they can do that, but it's whether or not they're capitalizing on it. It's whether or not they're able to fully use the pressure that they're creating, as that was an open net.
0 boost. I think they had maybe 20 boosts combined between all three. There's a double commit. The other person wasn't there. They have no time to rotate back to the net. And yeah, that sustain that Washington State is doing is working really well against a Michigan team who, honestly, it feels like that their small pad game has not been the strongest. I've been seeing Beaverbacks, he is constantly low, or Cool Stun's been 0. He is 0 right now. He's not picking up any pads in play. He's going to have to save that, and there's a huge steal. And Sun, he is finally going to be able to get boost. But Bex now, he's the guy with the ball. 0 boost again. He's going to have to get that mid. Now it's going to be Sun, who has 20 boost when he actually is on the ball. And now Plague, barely any boost. It's consistently for Michigan. A player who's on the ball has next to nothing. And now they're combined at 20 boost. And there's going to be a shot here for Koro, who's going to put it on target, but gets saved by Plague.
Well, and they're going to have to respond with something here. Coolest, he's got a little bit of a dribble going on as before Bex puts it in the corner. He's going to pop it up. Maybe Plague can catch up to it. No, Koro, even though he has 0 boost, still making his presence known as Nienta. Going to just throw this towards the center of the field. Get a big 50. That did catch the Michigan defense off guard. They're going to at least get it pushed out, but that might start a Washington attack.
Yeah, right now, though, Nienta is going to stick around. There's a huge demo. Nienta is just keeping control. He's opted to play this time-waste maneuver. They have 2 minutes left, and the control has been all theirs. It is still 70% just control. The possession is 60-40 going to Washington State, and even then, it feels like so much more. Like, Plague, he tries to clear it out, but Koro's going to be there. He can't do a shot. Nienta's just going to score. 3 goals up. Michigan does not have a response to this team.
They don't, and it's almost as if Washington has figured out the groove that they wanted to be in. I mean, right now, they have, I think that's 17 shots on net. Now, Washington has been the highest shooting team throughout this entire series, but this time it looks like they're doing it efficiently, and they're not leaving room for Michigan to do anything, whether that be, oh yeah, small mistakes, or oh yeah, a little bit of a double commit here. They're locking it down a little bit, to sort of just use a vague term there, and hey, you're 3-0 right now in this game, so you've done the right thing that you need to do, and now you need to take this into Champions Field.
Yeah, and I mean, the last streamed game of the regular season of the first season of MCC. Of course, it's going to go to Champions Field, right? I think...
Of course.
I mean, Week 10 has, in general, it has not disappointed. We have been to so many Champions Fields this week. We have had the Kansas State, Iowa State. That was a Champions Field. We had that CSUF Clemson game. That was a Champions Field. This game's going to go to Champions Field. We've had multiple Champions Field, and they have decided teams' lives and where they're going to be. This one, though. This one's deciding who's going home, and makes it all the more important here as, at this point, these last 4 games, Washington State might be feeling something, but the moment they get on that pitch, and if one thing goes wrong, it's like this game never even happened to them. The momentum will be gone. It will be shot. And right now for Michigan, they're just quaking right now. If you're on the end of a reverse sweep, possibly to end your season, the most disastrous way it could have gone. I mean, you absolutely ruined Washington State in game 2, and suddenly they figure something out. But Champions Field, it doesn't matter what's happened the past 4 games, as you know, we all know it. Nothing quite like it.
So far, I mean, you might have spent the last 20 minutes playing Rocket League, but it's only going to be the next 5 that determine what the result of this series is, and it's going to be the most mentally grueling for each of these teams. Michigan, they've been able to capitalize on mistakes from Washington all series, and that's how they've gotten their 2-game lead. As I think that was some defensive errors from Michigan.
Yeah, already beat for back. Misses it. Plague. He's awkward. He's not expecting that from his teammate. Strider, no boost, no problem. He scores, and suddenly the pressure's on if you are Michigan.
Pressure is on indeed, but I will say, if we've learned anything from these previous matches, it's that if Michigan jumps on an opportunity, jumps on one small chance, they are not afraid to run away with it. And it's whether or not it will happen in this game, as we will be looking center of the field, but not quite able to make contact, in Washington back on the attacking half.
Yeah, I want something to be made known. That's so key about this goal. That was Strider's first goal of the series. He hasn't had any in the last 4 games, and he gets one at the most important time, when life is on the line. And right now, though, Michigan, they're going to have to try to figure something out. Strider puts it high. Koro, he's going to be the one up. Plague, though, will clear it hard. And Sun, no, he can't reach it! And now Strider has scored a second time, a minute in at Washington State. It feels like they found something, and right now, Michigan, they don't have a response.
Well, I don't know if it's Michigan not having a response. I feel like it's just been mistakes. Michigan, they started off this series so strong. They were the ones that were capitalizing on mistakes, and now, all of a sudden, it's Washington that's doing that. 2 defensive / third man errors there from Michigan. The result is 2 goals, and you're down 2 goals in the most important game in the series, although it almost goes to 1, but Strider stepping in last second to get it. Coral, he's going to get the reset. Is it going to turn into something? No, not quite yet. As Coolest, he's going to take possess, get a massive 50 there, and at least Michigan has it on the other side of the field.
Yeah, but Plague now, he's going to recover this. He's going to try to go up. Sun's going to meet it. Nienta, no boost. He's just going to be falling here. Who's up next? It's going to be a 50 there. Is completely vertical. Koro will have no issues beating, but he has no boost. This next part is going to be awkward. But Strider puts it middle. Who's next? Beaverbacks will be first, but he has no boost, and this is going to be so awkward for him. As Nienta now. Also, the players are all so low. Strider, he's the first to pick up something for Washington State, then Koro follows soon after. They take control again. Michigan, it feels like that their second man has been slow, and it's costing them right now as they're now in the 1-1-2. Nienta, though, gets the big touch. Plague. Very lateral. I don't know how I feel about that as Koro, again, puts it over. He's trying to get the double there, but no, Sun will cut it off, and the ball gets cleared again.
Well, and we'll have to see if Michigan can come up with something, but right as I try and sort of shout that idea, they might have an open net. That's not what I was going to start talking about, but, I mean, right now, at least, it looks like we're going to keep this 2-0 lead for Washington, as a shot is going to be lobbed on net. That's going to be in. Coral is able to extend the lead to 3.
And Michigan, suddenly half the game left, and it feels insurmountable. You haven't had a response to 3, you've had a response to 2, but not quite like this. And suddenly, flashback to that Iowa State game. We've been told there's been one other reverse sweep this entire season. There's been multiple attempts. One successful one was Iowa State on Michigan. Is it history again for Michigan? Are they going to be reliving the past here on Champions Field at the worst possible moment? Right now, though, Beefrex is going to try to deny that. Tries to get a 50, but no, it won't go well. Plague, though, he's up next. He's going high. Who's going to meet him? It's going to be Nienta. Cuts him off. Doesn't even have a chance with Sun. Puts it over to the side. We'll stick around. Infield. Who's there? There's no second man. And suddenly, a big chance that they had has once again slipped away as Koro in the corner. Nienta, though, huge beat. And Sun has no boost. And he's suddenly in a 1-on-1. 50, though, goes their way.
It goes their way, but another miss by a player just trying to possess the ball is going to make it so that Washington has possession again. It just doesn't seem like this Michigan team can hold on to possession for for long enough to do something. And even if they are holding on to possession, right now, Washington is just jumping to the ball too fast for them to start developing anything. They've got to try and find something soon because we're approaching 1 minute left in this game, and they still have 0 goals.
They've been so unanswered. Bex has a shot. He shoots it high. Strider misses, though. Who's next? It's going to be Nienta. And the biggest chance had for Michigan has slipped away, and there's a minute remaining. And also, they are on the defense. They have to find a way out. Play gets a good touch. It's going to be Bex next. Koro, of course it's Koro who's on the defense, does well, puts it back into the corner, and another 10 seconds have slipped away, and as time keeps on racing, it's been 25% of the time, and still, there's nothing, there's no answer for Michigan. It's, at this point, looking like the season's coming to an end, though. A shot, again, saved by Koro. Who else would it be? As we go, play, another chance, another option, no, Nienta will deny it. Strider tries to secure it, double tap, maybe, no. Bex will stop it, but 20 seconds, and it feels all but over for Michigan. That Strider puts in a 4. It's all but wraps.
The end. It is the end of the season for Michigan unless they pull off an absolute miracle here. And I'm talking about back-to-back kickoff plays, which I'm sure Michigan are going to be, or not Michigan, Washington are going to be watching out for, as we only have 15 seconds left, and Strider's going to take another shot on net before Bex will be there, but by this point, they're just making sure they only have a 4-goal deficit they're dealing with, because within these waning seconds, it seems like Washington, despite a very rough start to this series, are going to be the ones going to the playoffs.
And Washington, when things got at their worst, they were down in an 8-3 game 2 to put them on the back foot, a match point 3 times in a row. They made it count when it mattered most. And I mean, they pulled it off when they needed it at the most important time of it all. But I mean, heartbreak for Michigan. 2 reverse sweeps in the entire season, and they both came from they came on you.
Just unfortunate, just an absolute turnaround from what you'd expect. If I was looking at that first game, 2 games, or something like that, I'd sit there and say, oh my goodness, Michigan is running away with this game. I mean, scoring 8 goals against a team that, you know, the stats did show them being pretty solid, and at the beginning of the season, they were a top team to compete with. Starting off this series with such a high lead, with such a good presence, feeling like you're attacking every single weakness that your opponent is giving you, and then all of a sudden them turning around and just completely taking it out. It's very, very unfortunate for Michigan, but I think we'll go ahead and we'll turn it around and give a quick chat to Nienta.
Hello, Nienta.
Yo,
How you doing?
hello. I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
I
Doing
mean,
good.
that was
Beautiful
great. I mean,
series.
game of series there. I think I'm gonna get right into it. I mean, game 2 down. You lost 8-3, and you suddenly
Yep.
were on the back foot, right? Match point.
Yep.
1 more loss and season's over. I mean, what's the vibes going through you guys? Because obviously these last few weeks have not been the greatest, and obviously now it feels like the worst possible moment for this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we had quite a few critiques for each other, and we really like hammered down what we were doing wrong, and we just fixed it, and then we got in a flow state, and we just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, well, you definitely could not be stopped. And I will say, I can sit there and sort of identify, like, oh yeah, these small things started happening, and you guys were able to, you know, correct them and tweak them. Was there anything in particular that you felt like was really, like, overtaking, and was that nagging thing throughout those first games that were slowing you down?
I think a lot of it was awkward positioning, and they just had a lot of pressure. So once we really solidified our roles, and really started building that muscle memory again, we were able to turn it around. But outside of that, I mean, Their goal line was such a tough spot for us, and their corner as well. But yeah, nah, we figured it out.
Yeah, you figure it out, and obviously at the most important time, wanted in the end at Champions Field. But obviously, the big thing about this one was you've made it in the end to the playoff WM. You'll be starting obviously against Nebraska, the 1 seed, as you guys are the 4. But obviously, the big thing about the playoffs that we talk about all the time is it's a merging of the North and South, and with that, there's a chance you'll play for someone from the South. Is there any team specific from over there that you want to play?
No, not really, to be honest. I'm looking forward to playing who we play, and I think it'll be a good experience either way.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Brilliant mentality, especially after a series that felt like that was a decent bit of clawing back. And I think it is well deserved that you came back, made an absolutely beautiful run there. Is there anything that you want to say to, the stream, anyone in particular, any shout outs you want to make?
I want to shout out my team. I mean, we've had a lot of rough patches over the past few months, and we've really adapted and really got closer. And now I mean, we started to make it work. Shout out the boys, Strider, Koro. I love playing with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to hear. But yeah, once again, congrats on the victory and good luck in the playoffs. Can't wait to see you there.
Can't wait to
Thank
see
you
ya.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. Y'all too.
Thank you.
And with that, obviously, great to talk to Nienta there. And I mean, good to hear. Obviously, they all had critiques of each other and they figured it out when it mattered. But with that, we have officially gotten ourselves a playoff bracket. I think, let's reiterate, I think all 4 games will be starting off. And I guess we should probably talk about how the playoffs are going to work, right? We'll obviously start off on Wednesday. We'll be starting off with round 1, which is the upper round ones. We'll be seeing that Nebraska, Washington State, a rematch of Iowa State, Kansas, literally played earlier in the week. We'll be seeing CSU up Texas Tech, where Texas Tech lost 2 games due to 0-second goals, so they feel they want revenge there. And then OKW Clemson, a Clemson that should be playing with Beans and is one of the strongest teams that I think have been slowly making a come up on these last few weeks. And then after that, the losers of the round 1 in the uppers, they will have to play again for their lives in the lowers against an opposite conference team, guaranteed. So they will be playing a brand new team. Possible chance, actually, that they played them in one of the first 3 weeks, but there's a good chance that they've never played them before, other than in scrims. So unfamiliar face, unfamiliar foes. When it matters most, do or die. And then we'll be talking again on the Sunday after that, Wednesday. Another 2 rounds, and then Wednesday where we are wrapping up the championship. But obviously, the playoffs, they're coming here soon. How you feeling, Nivex?
I'm so excited. And especially with the fact that we get to have this, conference mix up that's happening right now. Obviously, we got it at the beginning of the season. We got a little bit to see which team is sort of peeking through all of the rest of them. And even some of those have completely flipped on their head versus our expectations. I know that there are a few teams in the playoffs that I feel like I could say that about, but this is going to be a chance for, the true best team to show who they are, because it's not just going to be this Northern Conference, this Southern Conference that you've gotten comfortable with. You are going to have to play a team from a different conference. And not only that, if you make it all the way, you're going to have to be going up against very tough unfamiliar foes and, at the end of the day, very tough familiar foes.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of things we got to say, but I think most of that we will be hearing about on Wednesday. So we hope you join us here on the upcoming Wednesday, the start of the playoffs and the start of conference plays against each other. Hope to see you there.
Hope to see you there.